What is up, everybody? Zeke Rodriguez here with Alice Lauda with the Chips and Salt Show, New Mexico. Finally get an episode under our belt here for you guys, for New Mexico, for the movement of republicanism. Alice Lauda has plenty for us. I've got plenty for us. The world is looking crazy. It's looking great right now.
It really is. It's very exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive. And before we get started, because we have so much to cover, and I have a special hat on today. Da, 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 da. But very recently, Zeke Rodriguez was in I think it's the second largest, city, Rio Rancho, New Mexico?
Yeah, it was Rio Rancho, just outside of Albuquerque.
Yeah.
It wasn't too far.
He was doing some special political stuff. So tell us all about it, Zeke.
Yeah, it was a great time. The American First Women of New Mexico had an inauguration celebration event, and it was to celebrate Trump's victory, bring everybody together. And they asked me to be the keynote speaker. I said yes. I happily accepted. I did like a 15-minute speech. But other than that, I had some of my friends come up there. Debbie, Robert Lewis, Skylar, some really good friends of mine showed up as well, representing Doñana, what. And we just had a great time. Aside from my speech, I was really nervous for it, but it came out great. Everybody was really happy with it. But, we had dance competitions. It was just a great vibe. Blexit was there. The Black Exit, if you guys haven't heard about them, Turning Point USA affiliation. It's basically blacks that are against the victimhood mentality, and they're for Trump, they're for republicanism, and they're conservative. And there was a table for them there. There was a table. Everybody was pretty well represented.
That's great.
It was awesome.
You had Lexit there too, I'm sure.
Lexit was not there, but we had AFP in the house. We had RFW in the house. Like I said, Blexit, Doñana County was there. A lot of other counties from around the state were there. Hey, it was nothing to complain about. It was a sold-out crowd, 250 people. It was a freaking blast. It was crazy, though, because we got a lot of pushback. A lot of people didn't want us to have the event. Certain people that you wouldn't think would say anything said something, and then there was a lot of pushback, of course, from the Democrats in Albuquerque. The venue, the golf course that we were at, they got a lot of heat. They got calls from all over the place saying that they wanted to get the manager fired, whoever accepted the event. I mean, it was crazy for us just to show up and have a party and have fun because our candidate won. I mean, it was unbelievable how many people just tried to get us to not do the event. Other than that, wonderful time.
So two things. Did they have any protesters?
No protesters. None
good.
at all.
That's good.
No.
And the other thing that I want to tell our audience about is I didn't get to go, but you can watch his speech. It's very well done. You'll learn a little bit more about Zeke maybe that you didn't know, but you did a really good job and such good representation, because especially with Turning Point USA, there is just almost like, I don't want to use necessarily the word born again, but there are a lot of millennials and younger people that are discovering that the Republican Party really is the place to be. And like originally, Republican Party freed the slaves. We're freeing the economic slaves. We the people are going to be free again. And I'm very confident about the future. I really am.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we still have a lot of work to do. Like, Nadine Trujillo actually went out and explained to us the increase in votes that we got per county. I think, by percentage-wise, Bernalillo only got like a 1 or 2% increase in points this election, which doesn't make sense because we had the most Hispanics ever voting for President Trump. I mean, he had a Trump freaking rally in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So, there's just some stuff that just seems funny. But a lot of other counties around the state had a huge increase in Republican voter turnout. Shout out to you guys. Ultimately, the goal that we determined, and I've been, I'm going to be a broken record till we win the state back, is we got to register Republicans and we got to fix the elections. That's what we concluded there. That's what we talk about all the time.
Not fix them as in rig, but repair them.
Not fix them.
Repair, restore.
We want to, make them proper. Make them proper. So, it was a great event. Looking forward to doing another one again here soon, if in Doñana County, maybe in Bernalillo. We want to bring Scott Presser down here. I just got out of a meeting with a really awesome guy in the Republican Party from the state, and he has connections to a already Trump attorney that worked in North Carolina to fix the elections in North Carolina that's from New Mexico. So he...
Oh, really?
Yep. He lives in Albuquerque, but he was in North Carolina for the past few years. He got hired by the RNC, to my understanding, to work North Carolina and fix those elections as an attorney. So we're going to be making contact with him as well, and the goal is to get everybody together, start registering Republicans, and start to make the elections proper, not fix them.
Of course, you know what side we're on. We're all about election integrity, because if we lose, fine, but it's got to be fair and square, and not all these shenanigans that are suspect. So what's exciting, I wore my hat today, okay?
I love it. I love it.
I'm trying to remember who gave me this hat in Phoenix. It was a guest that we had, and please forgive me because I'll probably remember right after we finish the show. But I'm wearing it in special honor because there's a lot going on our border, as it should be, both the north and the south border. And then right before the show today, I understand that Hegseth and Homan are at the El Paso border. And
Right.
there are so many good things happening. There's a lot of stories. The left is trying to portray it as, oh my gosh, you're separating children. You're doing all these awful and terrible things. The reality of it is we have to get the border in order, and we have to respect our laws. And I really think we're on that road, don't you?
Oh yeah, I think border encounters is down like 90% or something like that already.
Big time.
And I was wearing my MAGA hat at a local Mexican restaurant, I won't say where, and I got discriminated against pretty bad. They wouldn't serve us. I was at a party with my black MAGA hat on, and I got treated really poorly by some of the individuals. And it wasn't that bad, but it was obvious that there was like
could tell.
You can tell. There's a lot of people here that came up during the Biden administration. They came up. I get it. But they can't be here. And you know who ruined the party? The people who were coming up here, raping girls, kidnapping kids, and not working and taking. I mean, that's the reason why we got to do it. I'm pro-immigration. My family came up here with the Braceros to work the farms during World War II.
That's all of our background.
And
Yeah.
so, I want people to come up here to work. But unfortunately, there probably is going to be some people that are going to be deported or have to leave that we would want to keep. But hey, guys, things got so bad. Trump's got to do what we got to do. If you love this country, without a country with no wall is no country at all. That's it.
It's not even a nation. You have to have it. And just always think about this. I just love this analogy. When you go to bed at night, do you just leave your door unlocked? You probably don't. You probably make sure all your doors are locked and closed. And it's not that you wouldn't necessarily welcome maybe somebody that needed help, but you're trying to protect yourself. Well, it's just kind of the same concept. You have to have a regulated border. And it's such a mess that this administration is going to have to address. But they've gotten a good start. They really have. And if someone keeps trying to tell you that because someone's here illegally, they're not a criminal. If you're breaking the law, you're committing a crime. It's really kind of that simple. And I think they're really keeping their word too of going against the hardcore criminals. It sounds like, because every day, if you just watch the news, I mean, you got to watch, it's not, one particular news, if you know what I mean, but the stories come out and they're going after the bad guys first.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like, people over here are pissed off at America. They're waving the Mexican flags, and then they don't want to go back to the country that they're promoting. It's so weird. I don't necessarily get it, but we're headed in the right direction. Trump has decades of re-chorusing to do, and it's not going to be pretty. I'm used to it. I'm in business, and I know it's hard, especially when you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole. It's going to be painful. I know he's going to try to make it as smooth as he can, but hey, guys, we are buried in debt, trillions and trillions of dollars, literally. And we've got the game rigged against us as Americans, as we the people, especially upper, lower, middle class. Everybody, unless you're super wealthy, the game's been rigged against you. So we've got to fix all that, guys. That's going to fix the border. We got to fix the weaponized medical system via RFK. We got to fix our military with Hegseth. We got the justice system to fix. I mean, I can go on and on, but Trump is on an epic warpath right now. We can't think of another word, right?
That's a good description. Epic warpath.
Yeah, it's beyond shock and awe. That's what we were talking about before. It's beyond shock and awe. I mean, every single day he's doing hardcore damage to the globalists, to the establishment, and it ain't going to stop. If he's already doing this by now, I'm confident that our elections here in Las Cruces will be fixed by this next election cycle.
He is bold and unafraid, and something that just came out, I don't know if it came out yesterday maybe, but I just saw it today. So I didn't even know about this USAID.
Yeah, USAID. Yep.
This is an organization, and basically it gives away money to foreign countries. And I wrote down $50 billion. And there was a list that I saw, and I said, wow, why are we giving them $1 billion? Why are we giving them $1 billion? And there was a reporter that made the point, Zeke, today, that there was a school, and I want to say it was in one of the Carolinas, and that school's, like, the whole electric system or something had been shut down. They needed $1 billion. And not that you just give money to everybody, but $50 billion to all this foreign trade. So that has been, Elon Musk shut that down today.
Yeah, with Doge. Yep.
Exactly, with the Doge. So all those things, like you say, they're getting, and speaking of that and the connection between the feds and the state, in our own state of New Mexico, which New Mexico unfortunately is a very blue state, but we have
Yeah.
sanctuary cities in here, and it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic because President Trump is saying, if you guys aren't helping to enforce laws, maybe we need to cut some federal funding. And I don't know if the Congress can only do that or if he can do that. Do you know the particulars how that
No,
works?
I mean it's pretty direct. He has a lot of executive power, so he's gonna have. So what the blue states, what they want to do is they want to not stop the crime and the uprisings, so they can get the feds involved because they still have some cells in the CIA and FBI that they can dispatch to do things that they want. But yeah, he's gonna put sanctions on them if they don't fix it. So I think ultimately the governors, even in the blue states, will fix it. But hey, it's a crazy time to be alive. I would hate to be a Democrat right now. I'll tell you that.
I know, so difficult. Now, do you think that the sanctuary cities, we talked about this before, could come back and get sued for harboring criminals?
I think that Trump has his game plan well thought out, especially with this immigration stuff. I can't wait. It's unpredictable because, like we said, he's doing a shock and awe right now. He's really unpredictable. So I'm really excited to see how he's going to handle it because we had some of our top state legislators, Democrats, say that we're Trump-proof. MLG saying no, we're not going to comply. Mayor Keller from Albuquerque says we're not going to comply. All the Dems around New Mexico are just like they're tripling down. They're tripling down right now, and you know what? We're rinky-dink New Mexico, guys. All right, we're 51st in education. We're worse than everything else. We're the only legislators that aren't paid, so it's an elite class that runs our state. On top of that, we've been rigging elections for Lord knows how long. I mean, these guys don't have a shot in the dark. They're basically going to be, going to a gunfight with a BB gun right now.
If they're lucky, they'll have a BB gun. Well, I like it. You know what I like about that? I like that they're making so much noise because what that tells me is they're shaking in their boots a little bit.
They don't look right.
You know?
They ain't look right. I've been looking at the pictures online. Even today, our mayor and former city manager was up there in Santa Fe, and they just didn't look right. They should be worried because imagine if Elon Musk already uncovered billions and billions of dollars of fraud from our federal government in the past 100 years, and we've been a blue state since its inception, and what was it, 1912? I'd be willing to say we should rename our state New America, and then and then we're going to kick ass because we have all the resources here. We can be one of the top states in the world. And then we can make Mexico state, because we're gonna get Canada, so it'll be Canada state, we'll be Mexico state, and then we'll be New America.
Trump's going to hire you, man, and he's going to put you in charge of names.
Isn't that a great idea? I mean, I'm ashamed of New Mexico. I don't have any incentive or desire to keep the name New Mexico or even keep the Zia symbol. There's always such controversy with that freaking Zia symbol.
I'll disagree with you because what's happened is they've rewritten history. This symbol stands for some really good stuff.
It does.
And our history of New Mexico, we have the oldest capital. Santa Fe is the oldest capital.
Yeah.
It's been around for a long, long time. So if we could just take back the history and what it was meant to be, and all the wonderful people that live. I mean, there are a lot of people that live here, and they have generations that go back hundreds of years. Most of ours are from Mexico, deep Mexico, but we used to be Mexico. As did Arizona and parts of California and Texas as well. But I understand what you're saying, and it's perfectly legitimate to feel the way you feel, especially because you as a millennial, that's what you've known. And there's been so many lies and corruption that has happened. Moving back, it's going to be 3 years in May that we move back here. I have learned so much. I never knew the true state of the state of New Mexico.
And it's gotten worse.
Thank you because you've helped me along.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I mean, we're worked together, and you had so much experience in Maricopa, and you came over here, and you were like, wow. And you actually got here at I don't want to say the worst time. You got here at the best time, like you personally, because we needed your help. But you got here at the worst time for our local party and for our state, because right when you got here, things just went super hard left in the county and in the state as a whole. So you saw everything explode, and you did. You've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
And so go back to the New America state, which I'm going to be lobbying for. The Zia tribe is always giving us flack for using that Zia symbol, and they're always, crying, and it's like, I'm over it. This is the New America, and that's it.
So what do they want us just to get rid of it?
Well,
because it's theirs. Do these mean the same thing too?
Yeah, it's this tribe. I mean, it's a beautiful saying. It's all about personal development and community and stuff. But The thing is, and actually the Zia tribe is actually pretty badass. They don't believe in casinos. They don't take casino money. They don't have any casinos. That's one of the tribes that does that. So it's not that I'm disrespecting the tribe, but I mean, I don't. It's just this state is so corrupt. The point is that this state is beyond corrupt, and it's been corrupt since the beginning. We've had access to so much money and resources, and they've been holding us down as a people. We haven't even been able to use this land and our freedom in this state since we've had it, and it just I'm ashamed of it. I'm really am.
There's so much potential now. The Zia tribe, they're up north, I presume.
Yeah, they're up north, yeah.
Right? Closer to Albuquerque and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, how big are they? Do you know? They're still pretty legitimate.
I don't know. There's a ton of different tribes up there. I don't think they're that big. The tribes that don't have casinos are not that big because they don't have the money. They don't have that much money. You know what I mean? The casino tribes have a ton of money. I mean, a ton of money. And they just have a whole different philosophy up there. And the tribes are still kind of at war with each other, even to this day.
Really?
Yeah, they don't get along at all.
Isn't that interesting?
I mean, I worked for a company that worked directly for the native tribes up north, and they had a hard time getting along even still, even to modern day. It's so crazy. And everybody, I wish it wasn't like that. And the idea of America was that we're all created equal in the image and likeness of God. We all have a right to life, liberty, and happiness. That's the mantra of togetherness that molded this country together, that made this melting pot. You get into anything else, it's always about division. You know, communism is about how rich you are, how poor you are, how, you know, whatever kind of color skin you are, what kind of gender you are, you know, all that stuff, your sexual orientation. At the end of the day, we all bleed red, and we're all stardust like God created us. But yeah, it's still a really tough subject dealing with the native tribes. They've been exploited. I'm not trying to call them out. The native tribes have been exploited since they've got their sovereignty, really. And I feel bad for them. And I wish we could do more for him. And I think Trump is going to do more for him. He got a lot of native support, and he always remembers who supported him. And I'd be willing to bet that he's going to go in there and clean up those reservations.
And I would have to think that the majority of the native tribes are probably registered Democrat or independent. But do you think there's also a trend there too, that they're leaning a little bit more conservative?
There's a
Maybe
huge trend, especially with the
Republicans?
younger generation. The
So
younger
we should go into the tribes and
there's
talk to them.
There's definitely a conservative movement going on there. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurism going on in the tribes right now because there's really no jobs over there. So a lot of people are just getting online and creating their own businesses, selling jewelry, doing crafty stuff, and that's awesome. So as they get more into business, I'm sure they're going to be more conservative by nature.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Along
Yeah.
those kind of the same, this is interesting. We're still kind of, I know we're kind of talking about the border a little bit too.
Yep.
But I just kind of, what I do is I collect these headlines so that when it's time to do our show, then we can kind of do, well, let's stick with New Mexico for just a second because you're talking about business.
Yeah.
So here's a bill, and I'm not sure what the status of it is, but the bill would let New Mexico counties temporarily halt issuing new cannabis producer licenses. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I've heard about that. And they need to do that. They should have stopped giving out so many licenses in the first place. They oversaturated the market, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like free market capitalism. I do. I think the strongest survive. The cream rises to the top. But what happened is they gave it away to all the out-of-state money. Like the number one producer of cannabis in New Mexico right now, and the country for that matter, are Chinese companies. So the number one producer of
That
cannabis.
doesn't seem fair, does it?
Well, they just outrated. You know, they just raided a whole bunch of Chinese farms up north. Finally, because speaking of native tribes and corruption, the president of, I forgot what tribe, I think it was a Navajo nation. Don't quote me on that. But they gave the authority for these Chinese growers to come on their site and grow fields and fields and just massive amounts of weed. And they finally got busted. They got raided over the past few weeks. And the
That's
president,
up north?
That's up north. And the president of that tribe, and I think he had an associate too that got in trouble too. They're in deep shit. They're in deep shit. Wow. Rightfully so, because they were destroying the market. They were producing so much weed that all the local growers had to drop their prices, and now weed's like free basically. It's like so cheap.
Oh my God.
Which is okay, but not really if you're in business. So they could have done the licensing a lot better. Trust me, I've been deeply involved with this for years, and they just did it to favor global conglomerates and out-of-state money, which is not conducive. That's not putting New Mexico first, people.
No, it isn't. Not America and not New Mexico
No,
as well.
exactly. Not even America.
And I know that, and this is a while back, so I'm sure it's higher now, but in Las Cruces, they already had like 100 licenses, business licenses they had issued, and one person who was in that business, and I think they had to sell their business, they lost it, I think, but that person said the amount that they paid for their license, it was outrageous, because I asked some other business people, my hairdresser in particular, and I mean, that's probably why they were giving out so many licenses. They collected a lot of money just for that. So, I mean, things are coming around little by little. And you're so right. New Mexico has everything in there. We have great resources. We have agriculture. We still have a really good population. And if we could have a revamp, just like our country, imagine what could happen in this state. Because I ain't leaving. You ain't leaving.
I'm not leaving anytime
Right.
soon. I mean, at the very least, I'll always have a house here, but I do plan on leaving eventually.
You're just gonna have to deal with us staying here.
And no matter what, even if I do leave, I'll have a house here and I'll fight. I'll continue to fight for the people. You know, I have a lot of vested interest here spiritually, obviously for my daughter, and just I believe in this state. I've always loved this state. I've traveled the world when I was in the military. I went all over the place, and nothing felt like home. Nothing felt like the food, the people, the weather. New Mexico is a very special place, and I know once we unlock this land, this can be one of the most magical places on earth, guaranteed. Guaranteed. I mean, it's really Las Cruces is the meaning translation is the crossroads, because it was the crossing point between the east and the west coast. Well, this is right here in the middle of all. This can be the crossroads for all of the Western Hemisphere, all the way down from the southern tip of Argentina to the northern tip of Alaska. You can drive a highway and go through Las Cruces, New Mexico, and through New Mexico. So that's why I wanted to call it New America, because you know it's a great place to live, guys. It's just the damn politicians have been screwing us over for so long. It's ridiculous.
You just can't have that anymore. You can't let them. And I'm going to make my pitch night right now, and I know he will too. But we've got in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I'm sure wherever you are out there, take a look at what elections are happening this year. We've got school board elections. We have Las Cruces City Council elections as well. And
That's right.
the only thing I don't like in our city council, I do not like the ranked choice voting. I wish we could get rid of that. And I think it's really bad. But if you're out there and you're watching us locally, you know, I want to make a pitch. If you've ever wanted to run for office and you're a conservative, that's great. Contact us. Or maybe you know of somebody you think, oh man, my friend so-and-so, they'd be so great at this. Well, talk to them about it. Mention it to them. And they can get in touch with us, or they can go to the CCIA meeting on Thursday. That's the Coalition of Conservatives in Action. It's a group led by Juan Garcia, Sarah Smith, Beth Bousquet is there, and a lot of other great, wonderful leadership people. And we meet Thursday at 6 p.m. at Kitchen Craft, which is off of Tell Shorts, right next to Rudy's Barbecue. So come and enjoy. And you don't have to be a Republican. Most of us are Republicans because we're conservative, but we have independents and Democrats. The main thing is to focus together on the community. And if you're interested at all in running for office, that's a great place to start and get informed. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I was at the last meeting the other day, and it was fantastic. You know, Sarah Smith did an amazing job presenting her new book. We had Mr. Huff go up there present his ordinance on the
And when you say
shopping
new
carts.
book for Sarah,
Well, her crew. It was a lot of big team effort, a lot of donations too. But she compiled all of the different books that are in the school libraries, and they're just straight up pornography, guys. It's gnarly. I mean, it's just. I mean,
It's
I know.
unbelievable, isn't it?
I know these kids are already inundated with sex on social media. I get it, but we should start setting a standard of like not sexualizing everything in our world and ruining these kids' innocence, especially at a public institution like that. Everything else, you can take care of your kids at your own home. You want to monitor their cell phone and all that, that's cool. But in a public institution where we're using our tax dollars, we shouldn't be introducing these kids to all the crazy, drag queen story time they had around. We've had one of those here in town. I don't know if they've done it at the public schools, but they've got these pornographic books that promote homosexuality. They promote pedophilia, drinking alcohol, doing massive drug usage. I mean, these pictures in this book are showing kids how to do like
and those
sexual
are
acts.
illustrations or pictures actually from the books.
Illustrations straight from the books that are in our libraries right now.
Unbelievable.
So we went over all that, and then Mr. Huff came in there and went over the shopping cart ordinance and what his next goal was. Great job. Julia came in here. Julia Reese.
Crime.
She's the chair of the subcommittee, Crime and Public Policy, and basically the gist of her presentation was that we're going to be getting those new baby receptacles. It's like a really nice little baby receptacle.
Safe havens.
Yeah, safe havens. Instead of these babies ending up in the dumpster, which is way more common than you want to know, we're going to have one of those here. And apparently, everywhere they put those up, it's about 100. It's hundreds of babies a year, hundreds of babies a year, and so a random person's completely anonymous will put a baby in there, and then the longest that baby has ever had to wait before a medical professional grabs it for medical attention and getting it ready for the adoption or foster parents, I think it was like 2 minutes. It's like 2 minutes. They get to
really
that baby
do
real
a good
quick.
job. It's at a facility that, of course, it's a special receptacle
Yep.
that they can put the baby in. They have them in Phoenix.
Yep.
And we had one at the hospital where I served on the board. That was Maricopa Medical
Oh,
Center.
cool. Really?
And they could drop it in there. And sometimes they're at fire departments as well.
Yep.
And that way, the baby is safe, and it's always attended, so they know when the baby comes in, immediately they can grab it and take care of it. Yes, it's so much better. I mean, Zeke and I, of course, are extremely pro-life. And this is something, it costs some money, but really when compared to everything else that might happen, it's really nothing. I mean, there's so much money that's wasted in government. And I believe, if I'm not correct, you might update me on it. Also, a certain portion had to be raised. Do you know? Did she give you an update on that?
From my understanding, they took care of quite a bit of it.
Good.
The organization who holds it, who's in charge of it, they have a lot of the funding already coming
Fantastic.
in. And I don't want to say you can say I guess I'm extreme pro-life, but I'm not. In my mentality, I am, but I am reasonable about walking the restrictions back because right now we're the most liberal of
No limits.
abortions. No limits.
No limits in
No
New Mexico.
limits. Walking it back to 15 weeks, and then from there, once everybody learns about what's really going on behind the scenes, I know things are going to change. So, I mean, with the abortion thing, it's like, hey, man, these girls are not presented with all the options, and it's so hard to adopt. I actually know someone personally. I hung out with them the other day. She gave up her child to to parents who were going to adopt it, and it was a hard choice for her. But she didn't want an abortion. She's a Christian. She was in a very abusive relationship, and she just, at that time in her life, she was really young too. She thought it was the best idea was to give it up for adoption, and she did. She did successfully. But she was explaining to me how extremely difficult it is to become an adopting parents. It's expensive and extremely difficult. I mean, they went through a rigorous process, and she's still dealing with it today. She's got a lot of emotional trauma. She still senses when she feels like her child is in trouble. There's always that connection. But hey, you know what? She didn't get an abortion. She weighed out her options. And after talking to her, I'm like, why do they make it so hard to adopt? I mean, I know there's parents out there who would love to adopt a child. But instead, they push girls to have these procedures. And it's like, man, it doesn't have to be that way.
It would be good to have an adoption agency person on as a guest to explain all that process to us. In the old days, like you didn't have all this stuff. So if in a family something happened, the parents died, there was an orphan, the families would just pick them up, and they'd be raised, with the aunt or uncle or the grandma and the grandpa. But you're right. It's not as simple now. They have to check everything out. And I get some of that, I really do. But I would like to know the process. It's just like the process of immigration too. We don't even know what that is.
From my understanding, it's very difficult. I talked to a paralegal as well, and they were telling me that, yeah, it's super hard to adopt. Mm-hmm. So, we'll look into that eventually. Maybe we can get a guest on and explain to us better. Yeah.
And show what could happen. But kudos to that person, and at least she knows that her adopted child had a chance. I have a friend, and if you're watching, you know who you are. I'd mention you, but I don't know if you want me to. But she's closer to my age, and when she got older, she got to meet the person that she put up for adoption. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's what she was talking about too. She really has an interest in meeting her child eventually, and she was talking about the emotional coping with that. I mean, it's a very intense situation, but I told her at least you can rest at night and know that you didn't do that other option. And you exercise the other option, and you're pro-life. And she's like, yeah, I'm very pro-life. She still protests for pro-life. She still goes to church, and she really wants to be an advocate for other women as well. So I think I know for a fact once people learn about what's going on, and that's the one hot button issue, man. You start talking about this stuff, and we're so bold to talk about it now because Trump's in office, right?
Yeah, it's a little easier. It feels a little easier.
But me and Alice are the most outspoken pro-lifers in New Mexico. I don't know anyone else that talks as deep as we do. We interviewed Mayra Rodriguez thanks to Alice. She is incredible. You want to talk about Mayra real quick?
She's awesome. And you can follow her on Facebook too. She posts quite a bit. But Mayra Rodriguez, just real quick to explain, met her in Phoenix, and she had been working for Planned Parenthood in California, I believe.
Crazy.
For a while. And totally, believed in what she was doing was the right thing, helping women, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, there's a doctor that all of a sudden they couldn't find all the baby parts, and she was the manager or something, and so her underling reported that to her. When she called the doctor on it, the doctor's like, don't worry about it. And ended up, they didn't like the fact that Mayra was going to report that and so Maida ended up getting fired and let go. They planted drugs, I think it was.
Yep.
And so I think she actually ended up suing them, got a chunk of money, and now her mission, she comes and she speaks about that. And she speaks the truth about Planned Parenthood, selling baby parts. I mean, we should probably put that video up again, the interview that we did with her. And hopefully she'll come back and visit again. And she's very, very involved with the pro-life movement. So someone who, she was in that world, so she understood exactly what was going on. So.
It was even deeper than that, from my understanding. She worked there for like 13 years, and initially her job was to find the girls to get the procedure. She was a recruiter, from what I understand.
I don't know if she was a recruiter, but like when they come in, she talked about how she would talk to them.
She was a processor, right?
This is to help you, and
she would have to sell it on them.
She was trained. She was trained and brainwashed.
She was selling it on them, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember hearing her say that she had to sell it on these girls. So, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I hate to be like crazy fanatical. It's not even that. I'm just looking at the situation reasonably. Nothing about it makes sense at all. It's not at all what it's intended for. It's been weaponized just like everything else that's good in our life. And it's a very sad thing because we're down children right now in this country. We need to increase the birth rate. And in that space, we're just firing these out. We got, abortion tourism coming here to Las Cruces. Maybe not though, because I was on TV getting interviewed by Channel 7.
We didn't talk about that. Thank you.
Didn't talk about that. And not that we want to give that much credit to freaking mainstream news, but it was cool to be on TV. And it was even cooler to be speaking against transgender operations being paid for by the taxpayers because of Trump's executive order, which banned that. People or children under the age of 19 years old cannot use the federal government funding to pay for their transitional surgeries anymore. Thank Christ. And so that's what they interviewed me about. Everybody agrees on this point. This is like a no-brainer.
Yeah, can you find someone who's, you probably can.
Well, there was
they have to be the super extreme.
The one that they interviewed on the opposite side, it was a president of a transition.
PFLAG, right?
PFLAG,
PFLAG, which I'd never heard of them.
Me neither. And they interviewed this chick, and I'll post the video. I'll try to grab the whole video and put it on Facebook somehow, or put it on YouTube. I'll put it on YouTube.
I think I have it on my Facebook page as well.
I can screen record it and put it on YouTube, but I'll put it up. And man, she just seems like loop-de-loo. And they basically asked her, like, well, do you think that the federal government should be able to pay for these surgeries, these operations? She's like, oh yeah, if you feel like you need to be in your body and you don't feel right in your body, you have a right to change your body. Basically, is what she was saying.
She says, yeah, you've got to be comfortable with the person you are. And I'm thinking, when you're 7 or 8, you don't really know. I don't think you even know.
Unbelievable.
You're still learning about the opposite sex, and it adds more confusion. But you did a great job with that, and that was on KVIA, Channel 7, ABC out of El Paso. And the reporter, what was the reporter's name? Do you recall? We'll give her some credit. She did a good job.
She did do a good job, and she was really cool.
We're so I always expect it to be slanted a certain way. And I think that this reporter did a pretty good job and was trying to give both sides. I'll give it to her, and I hope she calls on you again. And if you ever want to come visit us, we'd love to talk to you as well.
Yeah, she was cool. She was actually the coolest news reporter I've ever talked to. I mean, I've been interviewed to go on TV a lot, even since I was young. For whatever reason, they always hit me up to get on the news, and I think 2 out of 50 times have I been put on TV. So I was very surprised they actually put me on TV that day. And luckily I had my hat on because it was a bad hair day.
They showed a MAGA hat up there.
Yep.
I mean, and it was Zeke Rodriguez with the Republican Party, which is perfect.
Yeah, it looked super Republican. And we shout out to Janice Williams. She had her slogan back there too, "Take our state back." We had it in the background too. It all came together really cool. We looked superior to the Democrats or to the opposition. We looked way better.
Well, it was good optics, and I'm glad you mentioned that because they didn't have okay, here's a Republican point of view, and now we're going to go to the Democrats. No, they had to go to the LGBTQ people. Well, they probably couldn't. Maybe they couldn't. I shouldn't say this. Maybe they couldn't find a Democrat who was willing to come on camera and talk about that. The lady might have been one, but she did not represent the Democrat Party locally, right?
She's a Democrat, though. I mean,
right.
Yeah, it was a hasty thing. They called me at like 11:30. They're like, "Hey, we want to interview you. Can you show up right now?" I'm like, sure." Boom, got it done real quick. Happened to be in the neighborhood, so hopefully they call me again. I don't know. I don't really care. I just think that the Republicans have a lot of momentum right now, even in a super hyper blue state, theoretically, here in New Mexico, and it's an honor to represent the Republican Party here. We've done a lot of work locally. We've done a lot of work around the state. I've been talking to people all over the state recently, and people are ready to get mobilized. People are ready for change. They're tired of being disenfranchised. They're tired of just everything. I love this place, but damn, it's tough to live here.
They are. I think you're absolutely
Politically.
right on that. So if you're talking to somebody out there, maybe you're an independent. There are a lot of Democrats here in New Mexico. I always talk about this. They're conservative. Some are even more conservative than I am, if you can believe that. But they still claim the big D on their registration. So I want to make the case that your party has done you so wrong. And if you pay attention, it's really, it's kind of disgusting, to be honest with you. So if you're not ready to go Republican, I understand that. I totally understand that. It's almost like changing religions or something. Become an independent for a while. You can change your registration, become an independent, and then come explore. Explore and find out maybe you won't become a
Make your
Republican.
transition.
Make your transition. This is a good transition. It
Well,
really is.
I'll say this, and I've been telling this to a lot of people lately, because I've been reached out to by a lot of Democrats, some high-level Democrats recently, and I tell them, like,
They're
look,
trying to steal you?
well, they're trying to jump ship, and I'm telling them it's a good idea
Good.
because I know. So there's some top-level guys that are really close to Trump, and I know that they're planning on completely eviscerating the Democrat Party because they're going to expose all the evil that they've done. They've already started with the fraud that Elon Musk came out yesterday, and there's a lot more horrible stuff that they're going to be exposing. And it's not to say that we want a totalitarian one-party system. It's going to be a two-party system. It's already pretty much that because there's a bunch of independents and they're pretty much out registering the Democrats at this point. So they're going to destroy the Democrat Party fully, probably in the very near future. So it's a good time to jump ship, guys. Get independent, like Alice said. I think that's a good idea.
Independent.
Get independent. You can still vote Republican later. Or, hey, why not? Go Republican. It's actually the winning team now, in case you didn't know.
Yeah. And, feel free if you want to email me about it. You can email me. It's just my name, alicelada@hotmail.com. I belong to the Doña Ana County Federation of Republican Women, as do you. He's an associate member.
I just became an associate member. That's right.
Thank you very much. And it's a great club. It's really a good club. in
Great
Doña Ana.
club.
Very active. The women there are very active, as well as the guys that come too. And I'm also a committee member. And Zeke, of course, you are the second vice chairman.
I'm the second vice chair of the Doña Ana Republican Party. That's right.
So we're just a little bit active within the Republican Party. And we've got great leadership here at the county level. And there's just, like you say, the momentum is there. And we're just going to keep rocking it. And we really appreciate you guys that have stuck with us. I know we haven't had a show in a few weeks. It's just been really busy. So we're kind of, fresh in February. And we're going to be having our show every week, hopefully every Monday afternoon.
That's right.
We're doing it.
Yeah, I'm still working on the going live. We're working on that. I kind of got away from it because this is better. We got guaranteed good sound here. Got good optics. So we'll keep doing the shows and uploading to YouTube. Eventually, we want to be going live on more platforms and doing. We love live. Me and Alice love live. We're livers.
We're livers.
So I'm working on it. It's actually very difficult and intricate to go live on multiple platforms. You guys wouldn't believe. I'm not going to bore you with technical difficulties. Just also wanted to say that, man, I can't tell you how many times people have been calling me like crazy lately. I've been in politics a while, and man, everybody's excited. This is a good time to get involved in the party right now, guys. It's a good time to run for office. I'm considering running for an office. I won't say which office yet.
Disclose yet.
We won't disclose it yet, but yeah, I think I have a good feeling about it. I think that Trump's going to go ahead and fix the elections this year. As fast as he's going right now, I mean, damn, he's kicking ass right now.
He just, you can't keep up with him.
Can't.
You can't. Even the news. Did you notice? I think too, the news is having trouble keeping up with him because every day it's something. So I just kind of watch my phone and stuff will pop up. Trump has signed an executive orders. Okay, I'll go here. I'll see what they're doing. Or I turn on Newsmax. Newsmax is beating out CNN. I mean, it's just a great time to be alive. Oh, I wanted to mention also. So recently, last month, we were at America Fest.
Yep.
And Zeke is working on. He's done such a great job. We did some really good interviews there. So as they become available, we'll be posting them. One is an exclusive that I had with Jesse Romero, who's a Catholic evangelist, and we talk about a lot of good stuff that you'll be interested in. You did one with Scott Pressler.
I did. That one's a hot interview too. That one was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So as we get them uploaded, we'll share them on Facebook and other formats and on our YouTube channel, hopefully too. But it was such a cool thing, and there's so many good people. And there's another one. In fact, it's Michelle Cooper, and she's come up with this app, and it's for school safety. Really, it's like if there was an incident with somebody with a gun got into a school, and it's an app that she's going to. In fact, I think she's going to be out here in New Mexico. Michelle is originally from Farmington. We also interviewed Alan Corwin, who those of you in Arizona will know who that is. He's a big Second Amendment guy. He knows a lot about, he's written books on gun laws of certain states as well. And there's also a boxer, and his name escapes me right now, but just there's a lot of good stuff that's on there. So please just kind of stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we'll get those uploaded. I'll be putting them all on X as well. A lot of exciting stuff going on. It's awesome time to be alive. What else is going on, Alice? I mean, well, I know that Trump just signed a sovereign wealth fund in executive order today, so I think he's going to be getting away from the Federal Reserve, as I interpret that.
Yeah, tell me about that. Explain that to me.
I don't know much. I just saw right now on X that he signed an executive order to start initiating a sovereign wealth fund, which to me, the way I interpret that is that, well, we need to have our own money and our own currency outside of the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve, in case you guys don't know, which is the establishment that's a private corporation that prints our money, and so it says it on dollars, is not an American company. That is a company that is owned by global bankers, primarily the British Crown. Okay, so we still have been under British Crown rule for a long time, and presidents have been assassinated over this currency thing. The currency thing is a big one, guys, and it's a sleeping giant. So if Trump is trying to get us off the fiat currency and go into some kind of sovereign currency system, it's huge. That's mad. That's why a lot of presidents got assassinated in the past, because getting us off of the gold standard, getting us off our own sovereign monetary system is really just powerful. And
That was, we should never have gone off the gold standard.
things are too good when things are too good. Same thing with the tariffs. When we started doing tariffs again in the early 1900s, that's when they kicked off the Great Depression, because tariffs are super powerful. We have all, like, Mexico already capitulated. Panama already capitulated.
Yeah.
It took a day. What was it? 2 days? No, he initiated it. He signaled it, and it happened on Saturday. So 2 days later, they already.
And what was the left saying? Oh no, you can't do those tariffs. That's going to be terrible for us. Well, duh. There's some good results that have already happened, and it didn't take weeks or months. Boom, like you say, within days.
Canada's going to get hit hard. I mean, I kind of learned the dynamics. So basically, if Canada wants to put sanctions on us, all we got to do is not buy Canadian products and buy American products, and they're.
But you should be buying American anyway.
And we should be buying American anyway. They're way more dependent on us than we are them. We as Americans, we didn't even know that. They didn't even tell us that. But we have the royal flush. We have the economy that fuels the entire world. And that ain't changing anytime soon. We have that royal flush hand. We've just been sold out for decades. These crooked politicians taking backdoor deals. But we have the power with our economy. We can make or break nations easily. And Trump is just exercising that simple power. We've been taken advantage of for decades, and it's over now. It's over. Trump is in there, and we're going to fix everything. I'm excited to see how he's going to handle the elections. I'm excited how he's going to handle the justice system. I mean, I can go on and on. What are you thinking, Nels?
Well, yeah, and please support. Call your senators, your U.S. senators. Pay attention to what's happening in your state also. Don't be afraid to shoot off an email, make a quick phone call, because remember, we are the bosses. We absolutely are the bosses. I wanted to also ask you, so we still have some confirmations that are out there outstanding. And the ones that people are kind of worried about are Tulsi Gabbard and then RFK Jr., which RFK Jr., both of those are good nominate. And if you haven't watched any of these hearings, I invite you, go on YouTube, just look them up. Kash Patel, oh my gosh. These guys, they're all so sharp, smart, quick, and they're not intimidated by these senators that try to, be so
Well, in the Democrats' defense, most of those guys got in on rigged elections. So the people that they're going against them are not the brightest people. It's like running.
Well, that's nice of you to excuse.
They're running circles around them. It's kind of sad.
It's wonderful to watch. I totally enjoy it. I really totally enjoy it.
Like our U.S. Senator Ben Lujan, right? Is that Ben Ray Lujan? He looked like a freaking. I don't even want to say it, but it's just. That's our U.S. Senator. This guy can't even get out a coherent sentence. I mean, and it's not even like he has Alzheimer's like Biden. Like this guy just literally just.
He's not that old either.
He's not that old either, and he just doesn't got it. He ain't got it.
But it is so refreshing to watch them. It really is. And I just every time they're on, I'll stop a minute or I'll just pause it and record it, because it is worth to see it. And when in history, I've been alive for quite a while, I don't ever remember a brand new president. Well, he's not brand new, obviously, but his nominations are brand new. knowing. So now you know who's going to be your Treasury Secretary. You know all these appointments already. Rubio is doing a good job.
He's doing
too.
what he's told.
Wow. I mean, I just
And I was worried about him too.
well, well, I can understand that.
He's had some
I can
rhino
understand that.
tendencies. But he
He's been
must
around a long time.
he must have been clean enough for Trump to trust him, you know?
I think he's pretty wise, and he figured out, it's not good to be on the establishment side anymore. And kudos to you Republicans who are finally figuring that out, because this is a renewed Republican Party, and we want everyone to be as together as possible.
And hey, shout out to the establishment Republicans who are joining the team, you know? There's a lot of that going on here too.
We need your wisdom and experience.
Yeah,
We really do.
Lindsey Graham, he's being very cooperative. Apparently, they found him taking a lot of money too from that U.S. Treasury. So now he said, "Hey, whatever you guys need, I'm here for you," and that's cool, man. That's cool. If you're helping us, fine, and you're gonna get treated a lot better than these other guys who aren't trying to help us. Even though we got them red-handed, they're still trying to sabotage. And I feel like Las Cruces is like that a lot. They're tripling down these guys, and I said it before, but I know for a fact if Trump found all that fraud already from 100 years ago from the Democrat Party, what have they been doing in Doña Ana County? It's going to be
That's the thing.
mind-blowing when we find out.
All these things you know about, like we always say, but what do you not know about what actually has happened? And there's some stuff we'll never find out. We will never find out.
No.
And
It's easy to bury things.
as long as we as long as we keep hammering it and going after it, because, and I got to say my story again, sorry if I'm boring you guys, but coming back a long, long time ago, I was from El Paso, flying back to Phoenix, and a gentleman sitting next to me, and he was from Mexico and telling me about how he was getting his citizenship. And he said, "Alice," and I wish I could do his accent, a really nice man. And he said, "I want to be an American citizen because in Mexico, the law means nothing. In the United States, the law means something." And really, that's what it boils down to, because we're so close on becoming Mexico. Because when you don't enforce your laws, what kind of a nation or place are you to live? Or do you want to live there anymore?
Whoever said that was super smart. I couldn't agree with that person anymore.
It was awesome.
I really
Sticks
don't.
in my head.
I kind of hold grudges. Ain't gonna lie. I mean, and a lot of people do. But they won't say it out loud. I don't care. I'll say it out loud. Mexico has just. I've never identified. I am of Mexican heritage. I do love menudo, and I grew up super traditional Catholic home. Great, grateful for that. But that's not been a country ever. I mean, they assassinated 38 people before they got a president in there. 38. Can you
This
fathom?
last
Yeah,
election?
this last section. Can you? That is not a country, guys. That is not a representation of the. Even if they killed 2 people, the third person's like, this is not a representative of our people. 38 assassinations. That is not a country. It's a terrorist organization. They've shipped fentanyl all over the place here. MS-13 comes from up there. They sacrifice people ritualistically. It's just a horrible place. And I have no problem Trump going in there, cleaning up the cartels, and putting up an American flag there. This is Mexico State.
And I understand what
problem.
you're saying, and I'll just say, because we went to visit more the interior of Mexico in the mid-90s. That country is a beautiful country with a lot of resources and the hardworking people. I mean, it's, I haven't been there in a long time. Even the border cities, I'm not excited about going in there because of all the stuff that goes on. But you're absolutely right, because we're Americans first. We really are. And I didn't grow up in Mexico. You didn't either. Even my, let's see, I think I'm 3rd generation maybe even 4th generation. But there's a reason why our ancestors said, you know what, I don't want to live there anymore. I want to be in the United States. And I thank God for that. And that's one of the reasons that I will not keep fighting. Because when I start getting kind of like, oh man, this is just, it's too much. Not anymore, because Trump's in there now, so it's giving me new hope. But you start thinking about, just think about your history and what your ancestors went through to get here. No matter how far back you go, probably in each family there's a story like that. And it's worth remembering and paying homage and respecting that history.
Yeah, and life is very cyclical, and what we're dealing with right now with Trump having so much power and him kicking so much ass really speaks to the genius and the divine inspiration of our founding fathers. Because tyranny is a cycle. It's people have been oppressed for thousands and thousands of years. They did, even back in the late 1700s, the late 18th century, they outsmarted the devil or Satan or evil, whatever you want to say. They outsmarted it from then, and it held up even till today. That's how genius they are. Mexico's constitution didn't hold up. Canada's constitution didn't hold. Nothing around the world held up to the way that Trump has been able to hold up God and hold up his people.
That's right.
And that's because of the founding fathers, and that's because of God. And that's it. These guys didn't have it. And so it is what it is. If they don't want to play ball, then we'll put an American flag up there real quick. I'm of that opinion.
Well, and speaking of which, so I mean, we're so glad that you joined us for our refresh in February, and it's probably time to wrap it up with a prayer.
Yeah,
And
wrap
is there
it up with
anything
prayer.
else we haven't talked about that we wanted to mention?
No, I can't think of anything right now other than we got a city council meeting tomorrow. I'll be showing up to that. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Just stay tuned. We'll have some guests coming in here, and we'll be doing more lives out in the public. Can't
Okay.
wait. I'm excited to be alive. 2025 is going to be a kick-ass year. Thank you guys for all love and support. Thank you for being patient. You guys stay tuned. Real quick
Thank
prayer.
you, Chipsters.
Thank you, Chipsters. Lord, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to come here and speak in front of the people of Las Cruces and New Mexico and the country so we can unify people for you, Lord, so we can fix and remedy all of the evil and all the terrible things that have happened to our people in this country and for everyone around the world. I pray that you continue to bring us together and you continue to protect President Trump and all those who are fighting for freedom as we do it for you, Lord. In Jesus' name, we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Well done as always. So thank you again. You take care of yourselves, and next Monday we'll try this
Next
again.
Monday,
right?
we'll do it again. Thank you guys so much. See you later.
Alice Lara.